will not only reward you for the work that you have done, He will reward you for doing it according to how He wanted you to do it. So it's not enough that, oh, God wants me to host a worship meeting. You have to do it according to the way God wants you to do it. And it takes humility for you to say, I submit my will under your will, Lord. Have your way. If you want to build according to God's pattern, you have to build by the structure that God gives to you. And many times it will not make sense to you. If you are waiting for it to make sense to you, you will miss out on what God wants to do. That's why the Bible says that He uses the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. For example, everybody is jackmanning to Canada and God is telling you that you should go from Lekki to Osogbo. Doesn't make sense to anybody. But you see, if you trust God enough to say, you know what, God, you want me to go to Osogbo, I will go to Osogbo. First few years, you go to Osogbo, and because then you also bust your bubble. Sometimes when we think that because God said it, it means that everything will start to boom. There are times that God will tell you something. You will do it. You are in obedience, but your eye will see shege. You will be asking yourself, did I hear God? I did not hear God. If you have never gotten to that point in your walk with God, I promise you will get there. That you will be so much in alignment with God, yet nothing in your life will look like it. But God is still looking at you and saying, this is my child in whom I'm well pleased. And that's why if you are going to follow God and build according to God's pattern, you cannot do it by the standard of people, by what the world counts as success. If you are looking at what the world standard of success is, you will miss God a lot. Because God's standard of success is your obedience and your precision. So if everybody jackpot to Canada and they are earning in dollars and stuff, and then you go to Osogbo and you are squatting from one place to the other, and you are crying and you are upset, you're like, God, I had a good life when I was in Lekki or when I was in Victoria Island. You brought me here and I'm suffering and this, and you start complaining and you start, lamenting, and then you just miss out on what God is doing. Because see, many times, and I just want to use this to encourage somebody, maybe you are in a season in your life, you are doing what God told you to do. You are where God told you to be, yet it's not looking like your life is making sense. I want to encourage you that God's hands is still upon you and God is still with you where you are. Do not be discouraged. Do not feel like you are a failure. Do not feel like you are out of alignment. You are right where God wants you to be. You heard God, you listened to Him, you obeyed Him, but it's not looking like it's your fruit. You can see, I really pray that God will give you the grace to wait on Him. Give God time. And this is my encouragement to you. Give God time. Give God time. Give God time. What God is going to do with your life, it will blow your mind and it will marvel the world. What God is going to do with your life, it will marvel the world. That small Osogbo that, I don't even know why I'm saying Osogbo, but let me just keep saying it. That small Osogbo that God is taking you to, that you are in, that it looks as if nothing is happening. Kings, nations will come and draw from those wells that you have there. God will so announce to you that it will prove to the world that I can bring great things out of small places. If you follow with what seems to be the popular, you will miss God a lot. So stay where God wants you to stay. Do what God wants you to do. That job that you feel it may not be paying you well, but God is not telling you to leave that job. Stay there. Because many times, it's not always by what looks good on the outside.